Hello YouTube, and Happy New Year. It's almost January 1st, and we have quite the real, productive, opportune year lying ahead of us. And so myself particularly, I look to the new year really as beginning on the winter solstice. And this year in particular, we have an alignment. Saturn aligning with the Sun on the winter solstice, which only happens approximately every 365 years. And so this next year, we are getting down to business. The next 2.5 years of Saturn transiting his own sign of Capricorn is the opportunity for us to get down to business and to construct, create, and establish the foundation that honors who we are and the life that we would like to live and share with the world. So there's a huge opportunity for productivity going on this next few years, and I'm very grateful to be working alongside the talented astrologers of the New Paradigm Astrology community in assembling a course titled Getting Stronger with Saturn in Capricorn. The curriculum of this course is going to be addressing everything about Saturn, everything about Capricorn, so we have the opportunity to seize what gifts this Saturn building, establishing, and getting real in our physical three-dimensional world can offer to us. And so this is an 8-week course that's going to go along with 8 individual modules put together by 8 individual astrologers. We are going to be giving out handouts with information. We'll be putting online videos. And after each of the 8 modules, we will also have a live Q&A session to answer questions from participants. And so this is an involved curriculum/course. And this is going to be an 8-week course. And so I'll just briefly take you through the outline of what we've got planned for the next 8 weeks. Beginning January 1st, the day after tomorrow, this course is beginning. So I realize this video is getting put up kind of short notice, but there should also be a couple days after January 1st to get signed up this next week. January 1st, Kaipacha kicks off this course talking about Saturn as the Lord of Karma. So he's going to be talking about how Saturn involves the karma that we bring into this life from past lives. How to overcome such karma in a way that is initiating ourselves into our God-given strength and authority. And so that's week number 1, Saturn as karma with Kaipacha. Week 2 is being presented by Yules, who is the mastermind behind the CIA, the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. She is going to be talking about Saturn as the Lord of Time, work, and mastery. And she's going to be specifically talking about Saturn cycles, 7-year Saturn squares. Carl Jung said that within 7 years, every personality has the opportunity to completely rewrite itself. So again, we're talking about recreating fundamental structures in our life to become empowered. And Yules is going to be talking about those specific cycles of time. In week 3, Eugenia Kroc is going to be presenting about Saturn and Capricorn through the houses. And so she's going to take Saturn through each of the individual houses in your chart, as well as what house Saturn is transiting these next 2.5 years in order to understand what specific work your soul is doing, where this foundation is coming together, and how you can feel that concrete laying of ground beneath your feet. Week 4 is put on by the talented soul. She's talking about Saturn laying the foundation for grace to enter. Soul is going to be talking about the more spiritual components of Saturn. Saturn being a planet that really masters us in terms of our total spiritual integration, which is really being a channel for the divine, being connected to the whole and the collective, but simultaneously being grounded in time and form and three-dimensional reality, so to master our life living upon this planet and this earth. Then we're going to take a 1-week break and then resume again for week 5 with Christina Caudell. She's going to be talking about Saturn, maturity, elderhood, as well as specifically the second Saturn return, which happens around ages 59 to 60. And so this is a huge rite of passage that many souls go through, the second Saturn return and initiation into mastery, as well as talking about this passageway into maturity and elderhood. Then in week 6, in week 6, we have a presentation by Georgia Takacs, and she's going to be talking about healing shame in ourselves and our systems. Saturn can have to do with shame, guilt, oftentimes associated to the conditions that we receive in early childhood via our parents, authorities, teachers, so on and so forth. And she's going to be addressing those themes of shame and guilt and how to move through them. And that leads into my own module going on week 7. I am going to specifically be talking about Saturn and Deconditioning, which is a hugely relevant part of this next 2.5 years. Saturn is our structure. It's our foundation that gives us an orientation to the rest of the world, society, in a practically functioning way. And yet there's a lot of conditions that we are taught, particularly the first 7 years of our life. This is what it means to be a man. This is what it means to grow up. This is what it means to be a woman. This is what it means to be successful. This is what it means to be safe, protected. It's a dog-eat-dog, fight to survive. This is how we've got to be strong. Is a lot of that Saturn conditioning that each and every one of us receives. However, as Saturn transits Capricorn the next 2.5 years, there's a huge opportunity for deconditioning. In other words, addressing those original conditions that we may have received from parents, childhood authorities, etc., and changing them. As some of those conditions, some of what may cause us guilt, shame, inadequacy in terms of the ambitions, the levels of success we're trying to achieve, may not actually reflect who we actually are, what we actually want to be doing, so on and so forth. And so this next 2.5 years, there's a huge opportunity to decondition the rules, the regulations, the systems, the structures that does not authentically honor who we truly are. And so I'm going to be also taking Saturn through all of the houses in the birth chart, but specifically addressing, and Saturn through all the signs, and then specifically addressing how we can decondition some of those limiting beliefs, structures, or orientations in our early childhood, essentially by breaking the rules, by remaking the game, by pushing on boundaries and liberating ourselves in such a way to create structures and foundations that honors who we actually are in the inside. And so, when going through the zodiac, the way to actualize the high octave of any sign is to integrate the opposite sign. And the sign opposite of Capricorn is Cancer, ruled by the moon, having to do with our emotions, our emotional center, what makes us feel nurtured and safe on the inside and internally, as well as our own individual and subjective self-image. And so we're going to be talking about how to adjust Capricorn, Saturn, our outer structure and foundation to honor and integrate our inner essence in such a way that makes us feel emotionally safe and emotionally fulfilled with who we are and the work that we are doing in the world. In that endeavor, we will be addressing Saturn's nodes. Just how the moon has nodes in astrology, every planet has nodes. And it just so happens that the north node for Saturn, for all souls on the planet at this particular time, is in the sign of Cancer. And so partly how we're going to talk about doing this deconditioning, breaking the rules, and reforming the game from the ground up in order to be more self-empowered and simultaneously more emotionally fulfilled is by talking about concepts, images, tools that are radical, that change the rules. And a concept that we will also be talking about and introducing in that endeavor is how to apply the practice of radical nurturance in our lives in order to create openness and spaciousness to allow this reconstructing and rebuilding of our fundamental structures to happen in the most efficient way that honors who we truly are. And so that's what I'm presenting in week 7. And then wrapping up our 8-week course is Ari Moshe Wolf. During 8 weeks, he's going to be talking specifically about the transits going on from 2018 to 2020. In these years, Saturn is in a balsamic phase to Pluto. Pluto's going over the south node of Pluto and Saturn. Lots and lots of big changes are going on these next several years. And so Ari Moshe Wolf is a master astrologer who's going to be going into detail about these changes, how we can embrace this time, and actualize our soul's potential as we are laying these new foundations and indeed having the opportunity to rebuild and reconstruct our earth in a way fundamentally more liberated and more progressive than what we have ever known in the past. And so I look forward to working with you, to getting down to business with you these next couple of years, to doing this course, experimenting with you, as well as applying all of these learning and teachings into our own life and sharing the results. And for those of you who can attend the course, I look forward to connecting with you there. And for all the rest of you, I look forward to seeing you next time. Wishing you all the best and have a happy new year.